All right, everyone, welcome to Starcraft 2. This is going to be lower league lessons, every Terran unit explained, version 2.0. Last year I made a series of these videos of every unit explained for every race, and I just think it's time for an update. So this video is for anyone who is brand new to the game, or maybe someone like me who played Brood War way back when, maybe dabbled in StarCraft 2 and then took a long hiatus, and you want to catch up on what the current state of the game is for 1v1. Not for co-op, not for campaign. These are the base units in 1v1 ladder configurations. So last year, Blizzard said that they will cease pretty much developing StarCraft 2. So that means that the current patch and the current units are going to be pretty much stable. So this could very well be the last type of video that I make like this, and no patch updates, maybe just minor tweaks here and there. So without further ado, this is your main versus screen. Terran, Zerg, Protoss, random, Terran. And here's a little trick for you. If you are brand new to this game and you press F10 in this screen and you go to the help menu, you get some basic stuff here, and you also get Legacy of the Void multiplayer, and every single unit here is listed, in addition to each race's tech tree diagram here. So this is going to be the Terran video. We'll have the other videos linked somewhere here down below maybe. So here's the Terran units. We're going to go in game and I'll talk about them each individually and how they move and what they do, but if you're bored sometime later, I mean, you're on this YouTube video already, so you're going to follow along, but you can see exactly what these abilities are. So take, for instance, the Liberator. Advanced ballistics requirements researched at the fusion core. Increase the range of Liberators in Defender mode by 3. So if you don't know what an ability is, come here and check it out and see how to research it, where, at the fusion core. Okay, great, Liberator, and what it does. And then when you're watching GSL or ESL pro games, now you know, well, where do I get it, what does it do, and how does that interaction affect the gameplay. Getting +3 range for Liberators, that's pretty badass. Anyway, so yeah, here are the units. Here is the tech tree for Terran. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this page right here. So obviously the Terran tech tree, just start at the top left here. You need to build a supply depot first, period. That will unlock your ability to build a barracks. Once you have a barracks, you can build an orbital command. So things just get unlocked as you build more things. Supply depot, command center, refinery. That gives you your gas income, your Vespian gas. E-bays allow you to build sensor towers and missile turrets. A barracks allows you to build a factory and a ghost academy and a bunker. And from the barracks you can build these units. From the factory you can build these vehicles. From the starport you can build these flying units. And with the armory, it unlocks Thor and Hellbat back in the factory. And here's that fusion core. This is the kind of the pinnacle of the tech tree of a Terran army. This is where you can research Yamato cannon for the battlecruiser. This is where you research advanced ballistics for the Liberator. This is where you research enhanced fuel tanks for the medevac. Not that anybody gets that upgrade, but anyway. So yeah, if you are brand new or need a refresher, go check out this page. Other than that, let's get into the game. So for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go into custom. We're going to go to melee, and I'm actually going to pick Oxide right here. This is a current ladder map, and I'm going to go to create with mod. So if you are brand new and you just want to play around with the mechanics and not wait for everything to build, you can go to mod and type in instant up here, and you can add on to this map instant build and train. So I'm going to create that lobby. And now I don't even need to put in an opponent. I can just select Terran right here and hit start game.
And they're out of
Okay, so now we're in game. As soon as you get into game without an opponent, it'll give you the victory screen. And since we added that mod in, our supply limit is actually 300. And since it is instant build and train, I can just hit S and a bunch of SCVs will come out. So this is not a good mod to use for build order practice because your timings will be all messed up and everything. So don't worry about that. So let's just build a bunch of stuff here. We need a supply depot. Let's build some barracks. Cool. There's 2 barracks right there. Awesome. Now with the barracks, I can build that orbital command center, and that will allow me to call down mules or drop extra supply depots or scan down here. I don't have enough energy for that right now, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me get some gas here for these dudes. And let me just build another command center so that I have some gas income later on. Okay, so let's start with the barracks here. Every unit explained. You can double click or hold down control and click, and it'll select both barracks. And maybe you have like 6 barracks over here and over here. I like to use control click lately. So control click, boom, I've got all my barracks. Let's pump out a bunch of Marines. Here they are. Pretty basic dudes. Yeah, right? Cool. Well, what if we add on a tech lab to the barracks? Now we can research combat shields, gives plus 10 life to a Marine. And we can research stim pack, which causes damage to the unit, but it increases their attack and movement speeds for a short time. So research that. Now we can stim to win, and they move a whole lot faster and attack a whole lot faster. It does damage them only 10 life at a time. I did spam that stim to win, but not too bad. Also over here we have concussive shells for marauders, which can only be built from a barracks if you have the tech lab on it. So what does a concussive shells do? It will cause a unit to move slower. This guy has concussive shells on him now. The other dude, mother marauder, is shooting him. Cool, not bad. It's a really good upgrade, especially for only 50 minerals and 50 gas, I believe. It's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. Cool. So from the barracks, you have Marines and Marauders. You also have Reapers, which are very, very useful in early game because they can jump up and down cliffs. They've got these sweet grenades that can boop Zerglings and Zealots and Stalkers and stuff. Beyond the early game, they don't have much utility, so they're just very fast and sneaky to jump up cliffs and go scout a little bit. Maybe in TVT you do a proxy Reaper all in or whatever, but go ahead. You know what? Give it a try. All right. So the other add-on we have on the barracks here is a reactor, and it will allow you to build 2 Marines or 2 Reapers at the same time. Now, since this is instant build and train, it doesn't really matter, but a healthy mix of 50-50 of reactors and tech labs on your barracks, not a bad idea. Except in TVT. In TVT, you mostly only want Marines and tanks and medevacs and stuff, and Vikings. But anyway, I don't want to get into build orders too much. I just want to talk about the units themselves on a very basic level. So yeah, that's about it for the barracks. Marauders also can stim, but they don't get combat shields. Only Marines get combat shields. Do not forget combat shields. You can see the shield on the unit. Look at your unit before you go into a fight and make sure you have combat shields. It's forgotten very often by myself, by GM master level players. Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool thing about Marauders is 125 health, man. They are pretty chunky, especially when they have medevacs healing them up. And they are classified as armored units versus a light unit as a Marine. So a Marine takes extra damage from Banelings. However, Marauders can withstand a lot of Baneling hits. So if you are playing up against Zerg, you do want a very good 50-50 mix of Marines and Marauders. And if you see a bunch of Banelings coming in, control click one of your Marines and go the other way and let all the banelings die to your Marauders. And now you have a lot of firepower in the back with your Marines. Otherwise, you're gonna have to try to split up your Marines a little bit so they don't all die to one baneling. But anyway, let's move on to factories. All right, let's build a couple of factories here.
Your command center
You know, I should build a planetary. That's fine. All right, so we got factories. Again, 2 tech labs, 1 reactor. The tech lab allows you to build Hellbats and Thors once you have an armory anyway. And the reactor will allow you to double produce Hellions and Widow Mines. Cool. So the first unit we've got are Hellions, or fire cars, I like to call them. They are very good early on in the game, especially against Zerg and Terran and Protoss, really, because they're so fast. You know, building like 4 of these in each matchup, not a bad idea. So they do area damage in the size of their flamethrower here, and they do extra damage versus light. 8 damage base and 14 versus light. Not too bad at all. Once you do have an armory, they can change into Hellbats. They're a lot slower. Their range is a lot smaller, but they do considerable more damage. 18 damage versus, what was the Hellion? 14 light? It is much more concentrated. It's in this area versus, you know, a long straight line. So if you have a bunch of Zerglings surrounding this, you want 3 Hellbats roasting all those Zerglings. Pretty sweet. They do have a very, very important upgrade called Blue Flame, which turns their flame blue. And, wow, that just went from 18 to 30 versus light for the Hellbat, and a really good bump for that one too. What was it before? 14, I believe. I don't know. But yeah, Blue Flame, not a bad idea. Okay, so that is Hellions and Hellbats. Here's some Widow Mines. All right, so now I don't think I can shoot my own unit with Widow Mines, but Widow Mines are so amazing. With the armory, they automatically become cloaked even after they shoot. What do? They do 125 damage, proximity mine, plus 35 damage to shields. And it is an AoE. It's an area of effectiveness, area of effect damage unit. Very good against Mutalisks, very good against Zealots, very good against a bunch of Marines coming on in. But yeah, very cool. They also have an upgrade in the armory, or the factory tech lab, called Drilling Claws, which allows Widow Mines to burrow and activate 3 times as fast. So before they, you know, kind of had to dig in there, now they like pretty much insta burrow and insta shoot. Very, very nice. You load 4 of these up in a medevac and go drop on a mineral line.
What's going on?
That's a bad day for them.
Go ahead.
Cool. All right, moving on to factory units, we have Cyclones. Cyclones are pretty good. You know what? Cyclones are pretty good. Very good against early game harass like Void Rays and battle cruisers. And decent against even some Zerg units, Mutalisks, Corruptors, Roaches. They do have a lock-on, which I can't lock on to friendly units, but their lock-on does 400 damage over 14 seconds to ground and flying units. It does have a little bit of cooldown, but this is what you want against battle cruisers, because they can lock on and run away from the battlecruiser or Mutalisks or Void Rays while still shooting at it. So if you micro these just a little bit, this is a kind of your anti-battlecruiser harass on the lower leagues. This plus a Raven, lock it down so it can't jump away, and you'll be set. You'll be set. They do attack air and ground with their standard attack, which is called the Typhoon Missile Pod. Cool. 18 damage. It's reasonable. That's fine. For 120 health, though, they are a little bit weak. Even a Marauder has more health than a Cyclone. Okay. They also have an upgrade in the factory tech lab called Mag Field Accelerator, which does more damage to armored units and structures with its lock-on ability. So currently, right now, it says lock-on 400 damage over 14 seconds. Now, if it locks on to an armored unit, now it's going to do an additional 400. So it's going to do 800 damage to armored units. You know what's armored? Every damn structure in the game. So now with 4 Cyclones, you can lock on to enemy Nexus, Hatchery, command centers, and pretty much insta-kill their economy with a couple of Cyclones. Not bad, not bad.
Nothing'll stop me.
Cool. All right, factory units, siege tanks. Tanks are good. Everyone loves tanks. They are best in siege mode, obviously. Their range goes from, let's see here. Range is 13 versus 7. When they are not in siege mode, their range is only 7, and they only do 15 and 25 damage. When they are in siege mode, they do 40 and 70 damage versus armored. I'm not good at math, but that's almost triple. You know what? It could be triple because if you go to the armory and upgrade vehicle weapons level 1, getting +1 for tanks doesn't just give them 71 damage. It is, oh my god, that's not instant build. What? It's actually 5. It's +5 for, why is the armory not instant build and train? Oh, the eBay isn't either. Interesting. So with +3 tanks, you actually can get up to it'll be 85 damage versus armored. Excellent. Very nice. They are only ground to ground, and they are a little bit slow and chunky, so, you know, maybe throw them in your medevacs to bring along. And they do require 3 whole seconds to siege and unsiege. So keep them sieged until you really need to move, and even then, try to leapfrog them. But we're not getting into strategy too much. Tanks, they're good. Build them. All right, next up, you can build Hellbats straight out of the factory once you do have an armory, but most people just build Hellions and then change them. Also, there is this other upgrade in the tech lab called Smart Servos, which allows them to transform a lot faster. Same thing with Thors. You can, once you have that upgraded, they change into their high impact mode quicker. All right, let's clean this up a little bit here. Come here, Thors. Thors are the chonky boys here. They are the best ground unit that Terran has. I mean, that's debatable, but they are pretty expensive. They are heavy metal. They are chonky boys. And they have 400 health. That's crazy. There are some upgrades on here. So this is 33 damage versus ground. And they have a separate air attack. And there are 2 different air attacks. So with ground, it's 33 damage right now with that +1. And ground to air mode, they do 7 damage or 14 versus light. So that's amazing versus Mutalisks or Phoenix. But this is in Javelin missile launcher mode. If we go to high impact payload mode, now we have the 250 millimeter Punisher cannons. That was a horrible accent. I'm sorry, but it's amazing. Damage is now 28 and versus massive 39 with that +1. So this is very good against almost everything. almost everything. If there are Mutalisks, fine, leave them in the Javelin missile mode, because this is AoE damage. The Mutalisks will flock up or like group up really well, and you'll do a lot of damage against a small pack of Mutalisks. But otherwise, you almost always want them in high impact payload mode for longer range. By the way, range is 11 on that and only 10 on the ear. But yeah, they do bonus damage to massive units. So that's your battlecruisers, that's your carriers, that's your broodlords as well. They can just knock stuff out of the sky. Speaking of sky, let's build some starports.
Yes, sir.
All right, and along with that, we're going to build that fusion core right away. Cool. All right, starports. We have a reactor and a tech lab again.
Nice.
And we're just going to start at the top. We got Vikings.
Ready to plunder.
Vikings also benefit from that smart servo upgrade at the factory tech lab that allows them to land and take off quicker. So Vikings are air-to-air primarily, and they do some decent damage. 14 versus armored with no upgrades. And then on the ground as well, they do a ton of damage versus mechanical units. Not armored units, mechanical units. So anything that comes out of the factory is mechanical, and they can do damage to that. SCVs are mechanical. Probes are mechanical. So you could just fly these babies into a Protoss mineral line, land them, and they can take care of a bunch of probes very, very quickly. Very nice. They do have some awesome range, actually. Range of 9 is pretty good. With that, you can shoot a battlecruiser and then run away, and then shoot a battlecruiser and run away. And the battlecruiser will never be able to touch you with its normal attack. So being able to micro your Vikings is pretty important. But that's a sick skin. Love it. All right, Vikings. Medevacs. Medevacs are healing and transport units. Look at them go. Best way to load them up is to box select just everything near it, and then right click on the medevacs. All of them. And now you can hit D, click, and drop everything out. It does take a little while to unload. It would be very imbalanced if everything just auto unloaded. Suddenly you have like 16 Marines just in somebody's base. That'd be a little too powerful. Very cool. They do have boost, which lasts a few seconds, and you can upgrade the boost right here. Rapid reignition system. So it doesn't upgrade the boost, it just reduces the cooldown of it by 5 seconds. So it can boost, and now by the time it's done zooming around, that boost is almost ready right away. It's almost instant. Like if you boost in, drop, and attack some stuff, your boost will almost be ready again. It's a very, very uncommon upgrade to be seen upgraded in like pro games, but I think it's a little underutilized. But I don't know. We'll see. I've seen it once. I've seen it upgraded once by Kelazur in like, I don't know, some game in like BlizzCon 2016 or something. But yeah, medevacs, very, very useful. They are made in almost every single Terran game, I would say. Moving on, we've got our favorite Liberators. Liberators do have that advanced ballistics increase range by 3. That is massive. Increasing your range by 3 is huge. So they are mostly an air to ground attack unit. They do have an air-to-air attack, which does splash damage as well, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. If you have 4, 5, 6 Liberators, yeah, then it would do all right. But both of these Liberators are shooting that Viking, and it just finally killed it. So yeah, it's only 5 damage, but it is splash damage. So if these were a whole flock of Mutalisks, they all would have taken some of that damage.
Yes, sir.
So not bad. They are mostly used like, you know, you're doing an attack over here and at the same time you're attacking somebody's mineral line. That way their attention is over here and then suddenly they don't have any probes over here. So definitely a useful way to, or a sneaky way to damage your opponent's economy. It's nice to keep them on the edge over here so that even a bunch of stalkers right now would take some casualties to defending against this liberator.
Need something liberated?
All right, moving on, we have Ravens. Ravens, kind of the Swiss Army knife of the Terran fleet. It is a spellcaster. It has an upgrade that will increase the starting energy of Ravens by 25. I don't see people get that upgrade very often, if ever. Like, if you're gonna build mass Ravens, fine, but not gonna help out too much. Okay, so these are the spellcasters. They don't have an attack. They do have spells. Auto turrets, pretty badass. 18 damage for an auto turret, and their fire rate, or their weapon speed, is really low. It's like, yeah, 36 damage per second, basically. Very nice. Also, we have I can't cast disable on my own units, but there is an interference matrix which disables a target. It can't attack or use its abilities for 11 seconds. So that's good against tanks. It's good against warp prisms. It's good against battle cruisers. It's good against queens, even medevacs. Like, let's say your opponent is doing a Thor drop against you and you see him flying in, you could disable the medevac, and the medevac would not be able to drop or pick up any units, or boost away for that matter. So then you could lock on with a cyclone and boom, no more Thor drop. Medevac and Thor, indeed. Cool. All right, we're talking about Ravens though. Where'd my Ravens go? There they are. Another, what? They have seeker missile on here? Oh, okay. There's no seeker missile anymore. I'm sorry. It's only in this mod. Anti-armor missile. Can I cast on my own units? I can. Look at that. Okay, so anti-armor missile paints things orange with Dorito dust, causing -3 armor for a considerable amount of time. 21 seconds? That's pretty good. So now, Big Bad Thor only has armor of... He actually had armor of -1. So he was taking an additional 1 damage instead of blocking 2 damage. Interesting. Yeah, if you're gonna head into a big fight, or if you don't want to fight, send out an anti-armor and then like run away, and that person will be like, yeah, if I engage now, my entire army will kind of get shredded. They're just a little bit weaker. Cool. Ravens. I'm not even gonna talk about seeker missile. That thing was imba. Holy cow. Alright, seeker missile. It's not in the game anymore, 1v1. It is in this mod though. So, little bit of differences here in real-time game. What do we have next? We've got Banshees. Banshees are solely air-to-ground units. They do have cloak. They are upgradable to increase their speed, which isn't really a thing unless you're actually doing kind of a mech build. But yeah, Banshees are great in TVZ and maybe even TVP. You don't see them in TVT too often. They're a little bit expensive and kind of easily countered with missile turrets and cyclones and Ravens. So, but they actually do a decent amount of damage, but only 140 health. So, They're kind of a early game harass the mineral line kind of unit, but
I got my ears on.
they are fun to play with. I do like Banshees. And then lastly, we have the battlecruiser, the capital ship, which got some really good buffs about 2 years ago. They can shoot while moving.
Weapons charged and patching you. You hailed?
They can shoot while moving, trust me. Let's see, and they do have Yamato cannon, which needs to be upgraded at the fusion core,
Complete.
and pretty much instantly kills most units with one big blast. Cooldown period is 71 seconds for that, so you gotta kind of be choosy about what you want to do. And then also they do have tactical jump. They can warp anywhere on the map instantly, and that also has a cooldown of 71 seconds. So best idea to do is fly over to your enemy and then tac jump home defensively so that you don't get stuck somewhere. They do fly a little bit slowly, and if they have a bunch of hydralisks or blink stalkers or marines, they will eventually kill your battlecruiser. But
Patching you through.
yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, Commander.
PCs. They are very, very expensive, but you can do 2-base battlecruiser rush builds that are effective. They do exist. Let's see. You know what? We forgot ghosts. VG.
Yeah.
All right, let's make a couple ghosts, and then we'll just double check a couple things. All right, ghosts are built out of the barracks. They can cloak.
Finished learning.
They do have EMPs, which can be upgraded. The radius size of the EMP round is very, very good against Protoss to be upgraded.
Research complete.
And of course,
Nuclear
everyone's favorite,
missile ready.
nukes.
Ghost reporting.
By themselves, they do
Understood.
have
Copy that.
additional
Standing
bonus
by.
damage against light. So 22 versus light with that +1 upgrade. Not bad against
Go.
lings and hydras
Executing.
and even workers for that
Orders
matter.
received.
They do have a special
On the move.
mode that no other Terran unit does, and that's this hold fire. So if you're trying to sneak in there and get a nuke in, very important to hit that F button and hold fire so they don't
Out with it.
accidentally shoot something
Repeat last transmission.
without,
Gotta sit
you
right.
know, and exposing that, oh crap, there's ghosts in my base, I'm gonna get friggin' nuked.
Target acquired. Channel
You know,
secure.
how
Repeat
long do
last
nukes
transmission.
take? 14 seconds. 14 seconds for a nukes to land.
Channel secure.
It's kind of a long time.
Out of sight.
But yeah,
Out with it.
worth it. If you get a good shot, man, it only takes
Standing
one.
by.
EMP is good against Ravens, High Templar, Queens, Vipers, Infestors, any Protoss unit in general. Yeah,
Gotta sit rep.
ghosts.
Affirmative.
They are
Roger.
a little bit technical to
motion.
use. You have to be ready
Like a ghost in the fog.
to I can't snipe my own
Standing
thing.
by.
You have to be ready to have separate army hotkeys and
Repeat last
babysit your
transmission.
ghosts because they are very, very
Gotta sit rep.
expensive. How much are they? Well, I just killed my barracks, so I don't know. It's like 200 gas to build a ghost.
Go. Out with it.
And then also their other ability is steady targeting, which is 170 damage for against any biological unit. So that's any Zerg unit, you can snipe it. High Templar, you can snipe. So if you don't want to EMP them, you can just pew pew and snipe them. Not bad. And then you know,
Channel
you can
secure.
snipe most Terran infantry units.
Out with it. On
Yeah, I think that's about it. What we have here are the armories, which will upgrade your factory and starport units, their armor and weapon. Weapon damage will get increased there. Ghost academies, we talked about those. We have engineering bays, which is where you upgrade your Marine, Marauder, and Ghost and Reaper attack and armor. Over here we've got high-sec auto tracking,
Rear with the gear.
which increases your missile turret range +1. Not bad. People don't get it too often, but it's okay. If you got a lot of mutalisks flying around, maybe get that. And then you also have upgrade Neo Steel Armor, which upgrades the armor of structures by 2, allows bunkers to load 2 more Marines into them, or 1 Marauder, and extra space for command centers and planetary fortresses. So, these are kind of late game upgrades. You definitely want to spend your gas on other things early in the game and even mid game. And then 2 more buildings that we have here are sensor towers and planetary fortresses. So with a command center, you can either upgrade it to an orbital command or make it a planetary fortress, which is a fixed building now. It can no longer fly off like a command center can, but it has a huge ass cannon on top of it. Does 40 damage. It is splash damage, so if you have a bunch of Marines attacking your base or a bunch of Zerglings, it will damage multiple units at once, and it only attacks ground to ground. So, but generally you want your 4th base and beyond to be a planetary fortress. Otherwise, the orbital command is very, very useful for calling in mules, scans, and getting out of bind and dropping a supply depot if you need it. And then the last building is this sensor tower. It doesn't detect cloaked units, but it does give you this nice ring on your mini map that will show a little red dot or a little red exclamation point if there is an enemy unit within range. So pretty good for detecting Zergling run-bys or Zealot run-bys, or maybe a warp prism coming into your base. And now like, oh, you gotta quick get your units over here. They're a little expensive, but supply depots, center towers are very, very useful, especially for just deterrence, right? Maybe you've got a sensor tower over here and your opponent was gonna do a medevac drop or had some banshees or battle cruisers flying in. He might think twice about that if you had a sensor tower here, because he knows that you know that they're there, that they're coming. So not too bad. They're also very good against Nidus worms. Zerg Nidus worms need vision, right? So if there's an overlord sneaking about over here and he puts down a Nidus worm, well, maybe you would have known that overlord was there had you put down a sensor tower, and you can go snipe it with a Viking, wherever my Vikings are.
Made for battle.
Yeah, that is every unit explained for Terran. This did take longer than I wanted, but this is a hard game. There's a lot to talk about, and this is just scratching the surface. This doesn't talk about build orders or unit compositions, like what kind of mix do you want of these units. Just, yeah, pretty good on the surface what everything does, what their abilities are, and how to make them.
Upgrade complete.
Again, check that tech tree in the main lobby, and I think that's all I've got for you for now. If you're on YouTube here, subscribe, like the video, comment. This is version 2, and my version 1 got some comments saying the video was good, but I've upgraded the quality a little bit here with the microphone and some sound stuff, and decided to do version 2. So welcome to version 2. And then also follow me on Twitch. I stream pretty sporadically, but mostly Starcraft and flight sim stuff. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. We'll talk about Protoss and Zerg, and those will be in the link below as well. Happy crafting stars. See ya.